indeed with you. Holy Circle Gaming, thanks for rocking with your boy like always. Definitely a privilege and an honor to do as such. Y'all see what we getting into. We back at it. Marvel Puzzle Quest. Continuing the series. We getting into the 5 stars. I know. Y'all want to see the 3s. Y'all want to see the 4s. We're going to get into those too on the next couple of go rounds. But on this one, it's all about the 5 stars. You know what? There's no such thing as a bad 5-star. And we're going to talk about them. So if y'all ready, I'm ready. You know how we do. Let's get into it. You know, starting off that list at number 20 is that Bruce Banner Hulk. Now, the thing about Bruce Banner Hulk is I give it a little bit of run, not a lot of run. You know, he's not bad. It's just, he really, for a 5-star, doesn't really do too much. I mean, Gamma Ray experience is kind of cool. Smartest guy in the room is cool. And then he could flip, you know, to a different side of him, which is straight. It's just, it's nothing really great about him. He doesn't really hit with a bunch of force like some of the other 5-stars can in a really short succession. But he is fairly tanky. I kind of like that about him. That, you know, worst case scenario, he is going to absorb a lot of hits. But the one thing about any 5-star, if you so happen to be sitting on them, is that all those 5-stars can absorb hits. But the problem is when you're going up against teams with other 5-stars in them, Hulk is the rare one that you would actually see. You don't really see too much of Hulk, only because he's not that great. That's why he's at the bottom of the list. Let's get to number 19. Number 19 on this list, Doc Ock. Now, you know, I had Doc Ock when he first came out, and I had tentacles, and I thought that it would be kind of cool to be able to board shift and stuff. But it's funny when you see some of the other 5-stars that can kind of do what Doc Ock does. He just doesn't do anything special. Tentacles is cool. Superior Science is okay. But he doesn't really do anything that really warrants you to scare him. But you know what's crazy about it is, and we'll talk about it at some point, his 3-star abilities on the Doc Ock is better than the 5-star abilities, to be honest with you. I like those 3-star abilities better. We're going to talk about that when we get a chance to get around to those 3 stars. But that's the reason why I had to put Doc Ock at number 19. Maybe a click above Hulk, but you could have almost interchanged the two because they're both kind of one and the same. Not special, cool if you have them, but it's just not too much you could do with him because he's not going to really be sustainable down the line. Let's get to 18. Next on the list at number 18 is Spider-Man. Back in Black version of Spider-Man. Now, here's the thing about the Back in Black version of Spider-Man. He's alright. It's just certain things is like unnecessary. Now, you know, being able to bypass like projectiles is cool, but I'm going to tell you, when you're in 5-star land, you're not really dealing with a bunch of projectiles to begin with. So it's kind of like an unnecessary function to have that, you know. And with the Shattering Acrobatics, it's like negating strike tiles. Unless you so happen to be going against a team that has a bunch of strike tiles, it'd be cool, but not necessary. So that's a throwaway piece. Now, his stuns are pretty decent, but that's what they are, just decent. They're not great. They're not horrible. They're just decent. But the reason why he's at the bottom of the list, because there's so many other 5-stars that does so much better than what he does. That's why he's sitting at number 18. Let's get to 17. Star-Lord sitting at 17, man. I like him, man. I'm not even going to front. I mean, his abilities are really, really good. Something good, able to generate you some green tiles. That's pretty fresh. I like that a lot. There's something bad when you're referring to it, the ability to either steal some AP or the ability to steal, protect, attack, strike tiles, etc. That's fresh too. Bit of both, where it's able to do damage, team damage, where you actually destroy some columns in the process, board shake, team damage. I'm not mad at that as well. This is the bigger version of the 3-star version, which I like too. So I'm not really mad at Star-Lord. The only thing is that when it comes to top end damage, he doesn't do a lot of top end damage, even though he does some really good board shakes, some good steals. He doesn't have a stun, but he does everything pretty decently. Not great. They're just 5 stars that could do what he does a little bit better. That's why he's sitting at this position, but he's definitely not a bad character to have. Let's get number 16. At 16 is Iron Man. He almost was 17, but I'm going to put him at 16. Here's the reason why. So when you're talking about House Party Protocol, anything that requires like a countdown tile is kind of a problem in 5-star land because you don't have the time to afford to keep them on the board. That's one. Girl Friday is a very good ability, but the only bad thing about Girl Friday is even though it takes away tiles that the opponents may need as far as like the strongest color, it takes away this one of your colors that you need too. By it destroying reds, winning team requires reds. And here's the thing about winning team. Winning team only works if you pair Iron Man with people who are on his team. That's the only way that really works out to your full potential, full advantage. If not, it's just an okay red ability. So that's the reason why it sits at 16. It's maybe a click better than Star-Lord, and I probably should have flip-flopped them, but it's not really that great because of the things aforementioned. Let's go ahead and get the 15. Sitting at 15, Steve Rogers, First Avenger, kind of okay. Shield Bash is decent, of course, because it's able to generate some colors for you. Coordinative Offensive is actually pretty decent as well. Earth's Mightiest Abilities, it's okay. It's not great. It's not horrible. And the only reason why he's not great is because they nerfed him down for him not to be great. He used to be really, really, really good. Probably one of the top 3 or 4 5-stars in the game a good couple of months ago. But now, he's just not as such. It's just his abilities are so happen to be balanced to the rest of the 5-stars, but just decent, I guess. I mean, it's kind of hard to really kind of put Steve Rogers where you want him. Certain people love Steve Rogers. I don't. I just think that he's just a slightly, well, he's just an average 5-star. That's what he is. He is an average 5-star with average 5-star abilities. Sitting at number 14, Black Widow. I like Black Widow. But see, the thing about Black Widow is she's filled with a bunch of ifs when it comes to her abilities. If a teammate or if the enemy is the reason why her abilities can be maxed out. Like, for example, acrobatic takedown. If the opposing team has 12 AP in any color. That's a big gift because most opponents' teams don't have 12 AP, and most of the time they normally use them before. So you can't max out her ability. If your team is below 20% health, you don't want your team to be at 20% health when you're trying to do damage. So you took away the ifs, she is definitely a top 5-star, no question. Because of the ifs, she is 14. Does good amount of damage, to be honest with you. It's just those ifs kind of drag her down. Take away the ifs, you actually propel her to be one of the best characters in the game. But that's the reason why. Yo, I know Wolverine 13. Y'all saying, Cam, why isn't he lower? He used to be the best in the game. He's nerfed. He's unusable. I got you. You're not completely wrong. I just don't think he's unusable. He's just unusable when you're going P versus P. Where he is usable is when you're doing your story modes and you're doing some other events which requires him to absorb a lot of damage for you. He can do that. Because he still has the ability to regenerate some health, he has the ability to absorb damage. And because of that, he has the ability to stay on his feet. Now, do I have him on my squad? The answer is no, I did come off of him. But that is the reason why you might want to keep him there. He is 13. He's not as top flight as what he used to be, but he is not as horrible as what y'all think he is. You just got to use him the right way. Use them in your story modes, you'll be just fine. 12. Yeah, man, Silver Surfer sitting at 12. He's one of my first 5 stars that I've had, and I've been rolling with him since. Now, I like Silver Surfer because he does a few things for you. He can throw out some charge tiles, which can help some other characters out, which is cool. Silver Singularity, where it kind of does like a weird board shake of sorts. I kind of like that too. It's pretty decent. But really what it comes down to with Silver Surfer is Perfect Beam. The ability for a slight little 9 to be able to regenerate his health and keep him on board, and the ability not to get stunned does a lot for you. So it's actually really, really good in P versus P because he can stay on his feet, he can't get stunned, so you always got to deal with him, and he does decent damage with Cosmic Beam. That's the reason why I like Silver Surfer. Now, is he like top flight? No, but he is a good mid-tier when it comes to 5-star characters. I kind of like him, don't love him, but it's definitely worth the spot that he's in. Let's get to the next one. 5-star Black Panther. I like 5-star Black Panther. Panther Spray is pretty decent ability, by the way, but the one I really like is Spirit of Wakanda. Let's talk about that for a second. When you go ahead and ramp up and get the required team up tiles that you need, absorb those to do the damage. Oh, that damage that he does is off the charts, and you don't have to do anything because it's passive. I like that a lot. Move to Me Move is kind of decent as well. It's a pretty decent ability, but he can actually stay on his feet as well. So Black Panther could absorb a lot of damage for you. Panther's Prey can keep you out of trouble, but really what it comes down to is Spirit of Wakanda. That is so much of a fire ability of his. Sometimes when it comes to 5 stars, if you have that super fresh one ability, that could trump a lot of different things, and this is one of them that requires just your yellow as a passive and some team ups. I'm with that. Hovering in at number 11, that's Spider-Man. But this is the Peter Parker, the good Spider-Man, not necessarily the back in black version of him. But I like him. But the reason why he has to have the requirement as well, and the reason why he's 11, because you really need those web tiles to work. Now, to get those web tiles cooking, all you need is 6 blues, which is cool. The stun does a team stun damage, which is nice. I like the team stun ability. That's really good. But really where he cooks is when you got them web tiles on the board and you start hitting one opponent for some damage and then a random one for the identical amount of damage. Oh, that is so official. I like that. That's a arachnid ability, by the way. Web Shot can do some damage too. I like that ability as well. The only reason why he is not in the top 10, and you could make a case for him to be there, is simply because he needs those web tiles to work. If he didn't need the web tiles to work, he would be top 10, no question. At the number 10 spot is Thor. Now, I didn't know where to put Thor, but I figured this would probably be the right spot for him. When he comes in all stunting and flashing. He does some board damage right off the top, and then he does some board shakes as you go along. He actually does some decent ability as far as like damage is concerned. I like him. I don't know if I love him just yet. I haven't had a chance to really play with him enough to know that I really like him to even be higher than like the 10 spot. But I think that's kind of the right spot to put him because the damage that he could do is pretty decent. The constant board shakes will always help you out because I like players that have board shakes, as you well know. It's just, I don't know if he's better than the ones ahead of him. I just know that he is better than the ones below him, maybe plus or minus Spider-Man. But I like Thor. I just got to get used to rocking with him a little bit more. We'll talk about him more as we go along. Let's get to number 9, please. I know the question remains, why is Doctor Strange 9 and not higher? Because he's good. I just think the other 5 stars are a slight bit better. Crimson Bands is dope, don't get it wrong. To be able to stun a character and do damage on top of it, that's always fresh. Flames of the Failure, that's always great. That's always going to get you through any story mode that you're rocking through, no matter what. Even if you had one or two of those yellows, you're going to be straight no matter what. Eye of Agamotto is definitely a great ability as well to be able to steal some stuff. It's just the only problem that you have with Doctor Strange is that he doesn't do a big volume of damage with one of his abilities. He just does a lot of retaliatory damage, which is fresh too, because that could definitely get you out of trouble. But you would have to have 4 or 5 of those yellow covers to make that work. That's the only reason why he's at 9 and not higher. Let's go ahead and get to number 8. Man, I got Hawkeye right here. Here's why I have Hawkeye right there. Can't seem to miss is a decent ability, but that's not the reason why I put him here. I put him here because of Deep Breath and Full Quiver. Deep Breath, Full Quiver, both super official abilities. The only thing about the Full Quiver is that, you know, his abilities are based off the countdown tiles. If it wasn't that they were based upon countdown tiles, he'll just be OP. So you gotta have countdown tiles to put them in play. But the beauty of it is that you only need 5 blues per to get those abilities off. So you can have maybe 3, 4, 5 countdown tiles cooking. The only problem is when you're in 5-star lands, it's hard to really keep those countdown tiles up. That's the reason why you have a little bit of a problem. Deep Breath is a good ability as well. You definitely like using Hawkeye. Hawkeye is fairly strong, fairly good color scheme, can match up with a lot of other players you have on your squad. I think I have him at the right spot right here just because he does enough damage to make him sustainable. Jean Grey sitting at number 7. The reason why I have her sitting at number 7 is simply because she could do some things that's fairly special here. Now, From the Ashes is pretty special because you could knock her out. She got a couple of countdown. I got a countdown tile that could bring her right back to life. That's pretty crazy because you could, you know, to a degree, you could never truly take her out, and she could just come in and come back in full motion, no negative effects, and just keep cycling over and over again. You know, Psychic Rapport is pretty cool too because, you know, as a passive, it can, you know, build up some strike tiles or build up some attack tiles ability, negate some of the ones that you're going against. Pretty good ability, even though when you get to a point, you start throwing out, you know, attack tiles for the enemy team, but because you have them as a passive where you can negate them, it's still a good ability as well. I like Jean Grey. Jean Grey is pretty decent to me. Definitely at the right spot at 7. Man, I was trying to figure out where to put Archangel. Now, the reason why I kind of have him sitting in the 6th spot is because I don't know if he's really a 6 or not. I was kind of like in limbo of where I wanted to put him, but I'll put him at 6. Here's the reason why. Because he can actually do a good volume of damage with the abilities that he has. Now, one of the abilities, aerial superiority, which is pretty cool because what it does, if anybody's sitting in the air, he's going to hit him for damage every single time he's sitting in the air. Which is cool because normally when you have characters that are in the air, you normally can't do any damage to them. This is the one rare character that makes the exception to the rule. That's what makes it special. The only problem is that there's a rarity when you have characters who are in the air. But he still does a high volume of damage otherwise. That's why I have him sitting at 6. You can maybe make a case for him to be better. I'm not sure. I'll defer to you. If you think he should be better, y'all let me know. If not, I'm cool with that too. If he's a worse character than what I think he is, let me know that too. But I really think he's about a 6. Daredevil sitting in the 5 spot. Man, Daredevil is a pretty solid character. Real tricky, like, man. He can steal some tiles for you. He could actually do some stun damage. And then in turn, if you actually stun a character, he could actually do additional damage on top of that. Pretty official, man. And when he gets below health, his health recovery is based upon friendly strike tiles. For all you strike tile players out there, and I know it's a lot of you, You gotta have Daredevil on your squad just for the strength of that alone. Because the ability for him to recoup off of strike tiles, that's crazy. And then if you match the tile away, he actually could do some more AP recovery. And if you don't match it, he throws another one out there. Oh, this character is pretty unique, really fun to use, by the way. You definitely got to have him on your squad, that's for sure. That's the reason why he's sitting at number 5, simply because he could do an awful lot for your team. Man, y'all know what's crazy? First of all, Green Goblin number 4, by the way. You know what's crazy about Green Goblin is that he doesn't require anybody or any other character to cook. Goblin Glider in itself is pretty dope, even though it's a countdown tile. Trick or Treat is kind of cool and unique too, but they're countdown tiles. But here's the crazy thing that they kind of corrected with the countdown tiles, is that Green Goblin could fortify those countdown tiles and reduce his own countdown tiles so they could just cycle really, really fast. This is the only exception to the rule when it comes to countdown tiles, is because when you have a character that can actually reduce the countdown tiles pretty fast and it helps himself in the process, that's when countdown tiles become important. Now, having Green Goblin helps every other character that utilizes countdown tiles. That's the reason why he's at number 4. The only reason why he's not higher is simply because the other characters ahead of him does something special too. Speaking of special, number 3, Black Bolt, does special too. Now, Quasi-Sonic Whisper, that's pretty fresh. It can either negate 2 rows or it can destroy the whole board and start the whole board from scratch. I'm kind of with that. I'm not mad at that. It actually does a lot of damage in the process. Energy channeling, what that does, it gives you all those charge tiles that you need to get all your AP that you need cooking quickly. And if you leave them on the board, they actually could do some pretty decent damage in the process. But the special comes from Silent King. Now, the Silent King, what that allows you to do is to actually throw that ability out and upgrade the ability of one of your teammates who may not be maxed out. Now, when you're running with a squad of 5 stars and you need one of those abilities to be a little bit higher, Black Bolt makes it happen. That's what makes him special. He can do the damage, he can stay on his feet, and he can help his allies with a good color scheme. You can't go wrong with Black Bolt. Thanos sitting at number 2. You know how it gets down. It's no different than what you were looking at with the 3-star Thanos. This is just a better variation of it. And I know y'all don't like twinsy pairing. Like, if you got a 3-star with the same ability as a 5-star, why should you have them? If the abilities are great, then you rock with them. You know, come and get me. The team damage that it does with the green is pretty official. I'm not going to front. Infinite power, to be able to generate better match damage against infinite power, that's cool too. I'm not mad at that. But just like before, it's the same thing that you're talking about here. Court Death. The ability to do buku amounts of damage when you take out one character. Typically what happens is, if you take out one character, you have a good possibility to take out the other 2 with it. For that alone, that ability is special. And when it comes to 5 stars, you need special abilities, and Thanos so happens to have a special ability. That's why he's 2. Let's get number 1. Gambit is number 1. I know that is a shock to everybody who is on my board because y'all thought I wasn't going to do it. But here's the realness of it all. I listened to everybody. I seen it in action. And yes, it is as OP as everybody says it. OP, very hard to contend with. If you have one, you'll beat anybody that's in front of you. If you have all 3 covers, absolutely correct. Gambit is by far OP, almost to the point where it's broken, almost to the point where it makes the game unplayable, but he is that good of a character. Now, I don't like the ability that it, negates you using a red or a purple, but guess what? His abilities in those reds and purples are so strong, it just doesn't matter. You can pair Gambit with anybody else, and he's going to get you to the finish line no matter what. It's because he's actually broken. And in this portion, being broken so happens to make him the best character in the game, especially in 5-star land. That's why he's number 1. There you have it. We got through them. The top 5 stars in Marvel Puzzle Quest. Man, tell me what y'all think. Y'all like the list? Y'all don't like the list? Is there some characters I should have had higher or lower? Y'all hit the comments and let me know, man, because I'm always interested to see what y'all think. And y'all know, I hear y'all. Y'all want to see them 3 stars? Y'all want to see that 4-star list? It's coming. I'm in the trenches working on it, man. So we're definitely going to get those to you as soon as we possibly can. Word? But let me know what y'all think about this one. And we definitely get some more content and footage up for y'all soon. Y'all know who I am. I'm Mr. True Indeed, of course. Y'all know who I represent. It's the Holy Circle Gaming. And you know, family, like always, it is God above everything. Until the next time, family, we'll do it again soon. Salute.